Calling off this edition of the SportsMax Zone with cricket. Match 6 of the United States Major League Cricket took place on Sunday night in Dallas, Texas, with Mumbai Indians New York taking on Los Angeles Knight Riders. Both teams looking for their first win of the tournament. Gerard Morrisili has the recap.
Tournament against Los Angeles Knight Riders, led by countryman Sunil Narine. South African Devil Brevis got them off to a quick start, trying to capitalize on the power play.
Brevis goes after it straight away.
Brevis put Lockie Ferguson on the back foot early, with 16 runs coming from the first over. But the 20-year-old was dismissed for 15, trapped in front by Corney Dry.
He was in front of the stumps.
3 Knight Riders bowlers picked up 2 wickets, but Dry was the best, with 2 for 10. West Indian Nicholas Pooran walked to the crease, looking to lift MI New York from 37 for 3. Pooran struck at a rate of 102.70 in his 37-ball knock.
Just too high for Martin Guptill.
He had 3 boundaries of 4 and 2 sixes. Ali Khan neutralized a Pooran threat, though, removing him for 37.
But out.
But Tim David picked up from where Pooran left off. The Aussie blazed the innings at the death, striking at a rate of over 200 in his 21-ball knock. David hit 4 fours and 4 sixes to end a not out at 48 as MI New York posted 155 for 8 off their 20. It was a horrible run chase for the LA Knight Riders, starting with the dismissal of the dangerous Martin Guptill for a duck.
Outside the line, not according to the umpire Taylor.
Riley Russo was next to go, giving Kagiso Rabada his first wicket.
This is a little skyer and a bit of a teaser.
LA soon found themselves at 3 for 2, with Rabada picking up his second wicket, Nitish Kumar also for a duck. Their innings never recovered, but Angmut Chand managed a top score of 26. MI New York utilized 5 bowlers, with each of them picking up 2 wickets. Nostush Kinjij and Ishan Adil shared best figures of 2 for 7.
It's gone out and thrown a deep backward square. Can you believe it? You're going to have to.
LA Knight Riders went on to be eventually dismissed for 50 to give MI New York the 105-run win, their first victory of the tournament.
Thank you, Kyron Pollard. They have done a demolition job on the Knight Riders. MI New York.
Nikhil Uttamchandani is on commentary at the tournament and he joins us to review the match. Good afternoon, Nikhil. How are you doing?
Hi, Maria. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm okay for now. So I'll start by, talking about the Mumbai Indians, New York, and, this win, a big win for them. And I don't say that lightly. They win by 105 runs, and it is their first win of the tournament. Walk us through that performance.
Yeah, it was dominant. I think at the halfway stage of the first innings, they would have been a little worried. Having lost 3 really early wickets, I think they'll need their top orders, especially to come to the party. I heard Kyron Pollard at the end of the match talk about the fact that it was unacceptable. It's been unacceptable to lose 3 wickets in the power play consistently, which they've done in the last 2 games. But I think the way that this team is built, with the likes of Tim David, Pooran, who they've surprisingly kept to number 5, and obviously captain Kyron Pollard, it's just hard to think that not every game, at least one of them won't come to the party. And you saw Tim David last night. He did well in match number 1 as well. He is just a different ball striker and definitely up there with the best in the world right now. And obviously the momentum that they got from that 20-run final over, but also 62 in the last 5, I think it just carried over to their bowling innings. And from there, the rest is history. But for the LA Knight Riders, Anthony Narine and head coach Phil Simmons, a lot of introspection is needed because you're playing 5 games in the preliminary stages. If you lose 1 more, you're pretty much out.
Yeah, you say introspection, but I feel like a lot more than introspection is needed, Nikhil, to be 50 all out. And what did you make of Sunil Narayan's captaincy? I'll start with that.
Yeah, to be fair, I thought he was pretty aggressive in the fields, and he did well. I think at the end of the day, on a surface like this, in a stadium like Grand Prairie, you will get a lot of runs and you will get boundaries. The new ball is critical, and they made use of it with their seamers, Ali Khan, Corney Dry, and it tends to get a lot easier. And at the end of the day, I think if you ask Narine ahead of time, would you chase 155 when the par score has been 180, I think he would have told you yes. So I don't think it's a lot on him. It's more the batting. And, you're losing 3 wickets in the first 3 overs. You're always going to be in trouble. They need their local players who fill that top order to come to the party. I don't know for certain, but they may have had the option of playing Jason Roy, who arrived yesterday. They went with Guptill, who unfortunately struggled again. he will obviously bolster things for them when he comes back into the side after playing in the T20 Blast. But they need the likes of Riley Rousseau and a few of their local players like Jaskar Malhotra and others to come to the party desperately. I think from Narayan's perspective, he's been doing his job. He's bowled well along with Adam Zampa. And I found his captaincy and decision-making was pretty aggressive as well.
Right, and LA Knight Riders, they are at the bottom of the table. The beauty of competitions like this is they are a lot more matches, right? So it's 16 in total. They've already played 3. Do you think the Knight Riders, they have what it takes to, bounce back? You spoke about introspection. I said other areas they need to work on. But do they have what it takes, to get themselves out of that position?
I would have to say most definitely. And I just think because of the experience that they have, they've got good individual performances, but they haven't been able to bring it together just yet. But when I look at the makeup of their overseas options, with overseas Adam Zampa, as mentioned before, but Andre Russell, Narayan, Roy, who will probably come in from the next game, it is just so much experience that I find it hard to believe that they won't be able to muster 1 or 2 at least good performances. And once you win one game, you get that monkey off your back. I think they'll go on from there. They're going to North Carolina now after playing tomorrow night. And that, I think, will suit their bowling lineup a little more. I think conditions will spin a lot more than we've seen in Dallas. And I definitely expect them to come into the game and make this tournament very interesting.
Yeah, Nikhil, just to have a wider discussion now, we've heard so much over time about breaking into the US market with cricket. And we see this tournament, and from what we've seen so far, it looks fantastic on TV. What are you picking up on the ground just in terms of the early success of this event?
Well, firstly, let me just say I'm so happy that Ricardo Chambers has been watching. I know he's an avid cricket fan and follower. But listen, Ricardo, what I'll say is the following. I was kind of surprised. Opening night was completely sold out. And, I'm going to share an anecdote. I'm walking around the boundary edge and someone is like, autograph. And I'm like, not me. There's nobody behind me. Who is he talking about? But I say that to say that I think the fandom has been reminiscent of what we get in the IPL, where players have signed countless autographs. They've been in so many fan engagement activities. And, this is now will be the 5th night, and 3 out of the 5 of them have been sold out. So, listen, this is the 2nd largest sports market, I should say, in the world. And I think because of that, you always have the scope. But what I love is how much is appealed to the Indian and West Indian diaspora, because you have so many migrants in the USA, and now this is an opportunity for them to enjoy the game that they love. I have been astounded by the way that the games have been attended, but also the passion with which the fans have brought to the Grand Prairie Stadium.
Yeah, and when you think about it as well, right, it does, and it's the first thing that struck me when I saw it on television, it does have an IPL look to it.
Yeah, and obviously you have the 4 teams that have, the IPL ties, and that will always assist you in terms of a competition, just given the reputation that the IPL has, the most lucrative T20 franchise league. But I also think the professionalism with which they bring, similar to what we see in the other leagues that they're involved in now, so many of them around the world. But this one, for me, because of the time of day it's played as well, at night, you've got the packed crowd as well. It adds so much to the overall atmosphere. But definitely the IPL teams, because I look at the Texas Super Kings, for example, they have developed such a legacy around the world that at every one of their games, it's just a sea of yellow, whether it's in the IPL, the SA20, or now the MLC. So I think that the IPL teams have definitely contributed in a massive way.
Yeah, only a few months ago, right here on SportsMax, we broke a story about IPL teams looking to have full-time contracts or year-round contracts for top-class T20 cricketers. And I guess we're seeing now in this Major League Cricket tournament, part of the reason why they want to have quality players accessible to them all year round.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to have to be a conversation between the franchises and the international teams as well as the players. But I can definitely see why, from a player perspective, they would want to engage in something like that, where they can balance the international cricket, but as well as the franchise cricket, because not only they're making, good salaries and they're being able to provide for their families, it's also, I think, enhancing their games as well. I look at from a USA perspective and the local players, this is exposure that they would have never had facing Anrik Norkia, facing Akil Hossain, and the many international players that have come in. So I think from a development perspective, there's a lot of scope and opportunity there as well. And it gets you in line to sort of play international cricket, and it's not so much of a drop-off when you do play the franchise cricket. So it's going to take a balance, but definitely see from a player perspective why they would want to play both.
Yeah, and when you have tournaments like this, it's always important to think about the development aspect, especially for the host country. When we have the CPL in the West Indies, you think about that and know that this tournament is in the United States of America. How much do you think that this can do for USA cricket?
Oh, a lot. And the fact that you have 5 domestic players having to play in the 11 has put a lot of emphasis on them and their development. But I think also off the field, I spoke to someone like a Saurabh Netravalkar, who's the premier left-arm seam option for the USA international side. And he's had the opportunity for the last 2 weeks to work with Dale Steyn. And this is a man that's a world-class cricketer, but also, I think, a world-class coach. And what that experience in these 3 weeks will do for his game can be, invaluable. So I think, yes, the fact that you have to play the 5 players, they're getting that overall exposure, they're getting that continuous repetition in matches, high intensity is one thing, but also the time that you spend around some of the world's most successful players will do a world of good for them. And also the youth as well. The youth in this country will aspire to want to be in the major league and do well. And I think it'll give them something to aim to and work hard towards.
Yeah, definitely, Nikhil. And of course, you keep up the good work. We'll be listening on our end, Ricardo, for sure. I'll ensure, even if he's not watching, that I play it so he can hear. And, we'll talk again soon. Thank you.
Don't worry, Nikhil. I'll be watching and messaging.
I know you will, brother.
He will be watching so he can find something to complain about.
No, I don't complain. Never, ever.
Thanks, Nikhil. Let's talk again soon.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
All right, let's take a look at the table now. All right, so Orcas at the top of the table. They've won 2 out of their 2 matches. They have a total of 4 points. New York, they have played 2 matches so far. They've won 1. They have a total of 2 points. The Super Kings in 3rd spot. They played 2 matches, 1 win. They have 2 points. And in 4th spot, Freedom. Just like the other teams, they've played 2 matches. They've won 1. Unicorns as well. And we spoke about this. The Knight Riders at the bottom of the table, they are yet to get a win, Ricardo.
Yeah, and I think the most concerning thing is that they have struggled with the bat so far this tournament. 112 in their opener and just 50 in their second encounter last night. They have to get that right. And yeah, they can't afford another defeat in this tournament.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see how they turn around things. I posed the question to Nikhil. He thinks they have what it takes. And I mean, they're being led by a man, Sunil Narayan, who I have a lot of time for. So I'm looking forward to see them, just get out at the bottom of the table. They deserve so much better.
Well, they have to perform so much better. That's what they have to start with. And it needs to start with the batting performances, because last night was just awful performance from the Knight Riders last night.
All right, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we have a lot more to talk to you about here on the SportsMax Zone. Stay with SportsMax on YouTube and follow us on all social pages for updates, news and entertainment.